Guyana equipped with COVID-19 test kits as well as ventilators. Travel suspended on Guyana's borders, and High Court judge rules against GCOM producing SOPs in court. It is Friday, March 27, 2020. We have lots to tell you today. First up, the government of Guyana, through its Ministry of Public Health, continues to ramp up efforts to fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. In this regard, the ministry has added 1,100 test kits and 14 ventilators to its inventory.
These 1,100 test kits for the novel coronavirus were donated by PAHO WHO, bringing the total number of donated test kits to 1,800. Minister of Public Health Honorable Valda Lawrence explained that Guyana still has 5 total cases of COVID-19 and urged Guyanese to continue preventative measures.
We do have a number of persons quarantined by the Ministry of Public Health. Under institutional quarantine, the number remains at 31, while those on home quarantine remains at 135.
14 ventilators have also been donated to the Ministry of Public Health to boost the capacity of Level 3 health facilities in Guyana. These initiatives will help strengthen the fight against COVID-19 and keep Guyana safe. Region 8 stands out in its COVID-19 response as one of the most proactive regions.
A logbook is now in place to record all visitors, name, contact info, travel history, medical background, destination, etc. This will enable them to monitor travel, which will allow for early reporting and timely response to any COVID-19 situation.
Prior to the index or first imported case on March 11, Guyana has put several measures in place to promote the safety and well-being of all citizens. Letitia Isaacs, Foreign Info Hub.
Meantime, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is advising the public that as a consequence of the pandemic caused by the coronavirus COVID-19, measures have been put into effect to suspend travel on Guyana's borders. The governments of Brazil, Suriname, and Venezuela have closed their ports of entry and exit, and Guyana has implemented similar measures. The ferry service between Guyana and Suriname was suspended with effect from March 14 to March 21. All seaports were closed to international vessels. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs wishes to stress that traveling to and from the countries with which Guyana shares its borders has been suspended until further notice, and citizens are advised not to attempt to cross into these countries. The ministry appeals to the public to heed this advisory and to cooperate with the national institutions in the global effort to safeguard the health and well-being of persons at this challenging time, not only for Guyana, but for the international community as a whole. Now for an update from the High Court in the GCOM case. Judge Franklin Holder has ruled against the Guyana Elections Commission producing statements of polls in the court. On Friday, Justice Franklin Holder ruled that the court has jurisdiction to block the recount of ballots and dismissed the opposition's application to present the statements of polls for Region 4. GCOM attorney, Senior Counsel Neil Boston, explained that the application brought by Yulita Moore was granted on the basis that the Commission cannot act on the agreement.
Article 161B says no politician shall interfere. The politicians have no right to interfere with the supervision or the running of elections in Guyana. So that agreement between Granger and Jagdeo is ultra-virus Article 161B. There is a breach. They can't breach a constitutional provision.
Speaking to the media, Boston said the presentation of SOPs can only be done by way of an elections petition.
Under Article 163 of the Constitution, it says anything that has to do with whether an election has been lawfully conducted or the result of the election has been affected by some unlawful act or omission, then it has to go to a special court, and you go to that court by election petition. So Mr. Jagdeo was trying to bring by way of the back door with something which could not have been entered by way of the front door. So that is why his application for disclosure of the statements of poll were not allowed.
The fight against the deadly COVID-19 pandemic continues with the much-needed precautionary measures in place. International and local health officials have been stressing the need for social distancing during these trying times. In this next report, we explain what is social distancing and why it is crucial specifically at this time.
The fight against the deadly novel coronavirus pandemic continues with the implementation of much-needed precautionary measures. Officials from the World Health Organization have continually emphasized the need for people around the world to practice social distancing. Social distancing or physical distancing are certain actions advocated by the public health officials to stop person-to-person transmission of a highly contagious disease, in this case, COVID-19. It also helps slow down the spread of the virus and reduces the intensity of the epidemic. A person infected with COVID-19 is said to be able to pass it on to an average of 2 to 3 other people in the early stages. Therefore, health scientists around the world are advocating for the gathering of no more than 10 persons at any one time. Canceling events that are likely to draw crowds is an example of social distancing. It is aimed at increasing the physical space between people to avoid spreading illness. Staying at least 6 feet away from other people lessens one's chances of catching COVID-19. Other examples of social distancing which allow persons to avoid larger crowds or crowded spaces include working from home instead of the office, closing schools and switching to online classes, communicating with relatives and friends by electronic devices instead of in person, canceling or postponing conferences and large meetings, online banking and other financial transactions instead of visiting banks or business places. Social distancing benefits all. However, older persons and those with recurring medical conditions such as respiratory illness, heart disease, and diabetes should be especially mindful about practicing social distancing. The question remains, when will social distancing end? It remains the most important factor that can control the outbreak. It is essentially buying time until a vaccine can be found. People are inherently social animals, so it is not easy to cut off practically all social contact. However, what you can do is help protect society. Remember, we're all in this together, even if apart physically. Letitia Isaacs, Foreign Info Hub.
Learn about the importance of hand washing as we safeguard ourselves and family against the coronavirus. The details of this and more after the break. Stay with us. Daddy! Thanks for staying with us. Now let's take a look at the important role that hand washing plays in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic.
Respiratory viruses like COVID-19 spread when mucus or droplets containing the virus gets into the body either through your eyes, nose, or throat. More often, this happens through your hands. It is one of the most common ways that the virus spreads from one person to the next. But a quick scrub and rinse won't cut it. Here is how it should be done. Wet hands with running water. Apply enough soap to cover wet hands. Scrub all surfaces including back of hands, between fingers and under nails for at least 20 seconds to ensure full coverage. Rinse thoroughly with running water. Dry hands with a clean cloth or single-use towel.
In sport, the fraternity is mourning the loss of Robert Selman, the former managing director of the Guyana Beverage Company Incorporated, who was an avid supporter of sport, particularly football, in Guyana. Minister of Social Cohesion, the Honorable Dr. George Norton, in a release earlier today, extended condolences to the relatives, friends, and well-wishers of Robert Selman. The businessman died at the age of 75 in his native land of Trinidad and Tobago earlier this week. Under his company's Fruta brand, Selman became the backbone of the Conquerors Football Club, providing outstanding financial aid for more than 2 decades. As the minister responsible for culture, youth, and sport, Dr. Norton is assuring the Selman family that Selman's contributions to Guyana has always been appreciated and will forever be cherished. Before we go, here are some do's and don'ts to help you safeguard against the coronavirus. That's all for today. Connect with us on all our social media platforms, including WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, as we bring you the latest and important news related to COVID-19 and much more. Also, subscribe to our website, dpi.gov.gy. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Do your part to ensure you do not put yourself at risk during this time. Remember, it starts from your hands. So wash your hands frequently with soap and water or an alcohol-based solution. And if it is extremely necessary to be on the road, remember to practice social distancing. Your bridge and weather reports are up next. Goodbye.
Thank you.